Ukraine launched overnight strikes on Russian oil depots, fuel facilities, and logistics sites supporting Moscow's war effort. Kiev expanded its deep strike campaign by targeting fuel infrastructure and maritime assets inside Russian territory. Ukrainian forces said the overnight operation struck key logistics hubs supplying Russia's military operations. Ukraine claimed its attacks also hit vessels in the Black Sea, aiming to disrupt Russia's military and shipping network. Ukraine said it carried out overnight strikes on an oil depot, logistics facilities in Moscow Oblast, and 6 vessels operating in the Black Sea. President Volodymyr Zelensky said the operation was launched in response to Russia's continued missile and drone attacks on Ukrainian cities. Zelensky said Ukrainian forces struck 2 tankers and 4 dry cargo ships during the overnight operation targeting Russian logistics. Videos circulating on social media showed thick black smoke rising after reported strike on the Podolsk oil depot in Moscow Oblast. Monitoring channels also reported that a wild berries fulfillment center in Kolyadino caught fire following the reported Ukrainian strike. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry said its forces struck fuel storage tanks at Ukraine's commercial port in Odesa using precision weapons. Moscow said high-precision missiles and Geran drones targeted Ukrainian military logistics and supply infrastructure during the operation. Russia's defense ministry also claimed its strikes hit Ukrainian UAV assembly sites, surface drone facilities and bases used by foreign mercenaries. Moscow said the attacks damaged Ukrainian fuel, power, and transport infrastructure supporting Kiev's military operations. Russian forces also claimed they continued offensive operations and cleared additional fortified Ukrainian strongholds in the Zaporizhzhia direction. Ukraine said Russia launched one of the largest overnight missile attacks of the war against Kiev on July 19. According to CNN, the assault combined more than 40 missiles with around 120 attack drones in a coordinated strike. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia fired 25 ballistic missiles along with 10 Zircon hypersonic missiles during the barrage. Emergency officials said strikes hit 5 districts of Kiev, killing 1 person and injuring at least 17 others. Russia's defense ministry, meanwhile, claimed the attack targeted Ukraine's defense industry facilities and military logistics sites. Ukraine also said a Russian strike destroyed nearly 250,000 books after hitting the warehouse of publishing company Nyholov in Kiev. President Zelensky described the assault on Kiev as one of the most massive ballistic attacks the capital has endured since Russia's full-scale invasion began back in 2022. According to Ukrainian officials, Russia fired approximately 1,450 strike drones, more than 1,640 guided bombs and 99 missiles of various types against the country over the course of this single week. Russia's defense ministry claimed its July 19 strikes were specifically targeted at Ukraine's missile, drone and broader military production industries, rather than civilian areas. The BBC reported that at least 35 people were injured in the overnight wave of missile and drone attacks, with several victims left in serious condition. Ukraine's air defenses managed to shoot down 18 out of 41 incoming missiles that night, and also successfully intercepted a further 108 drones before they could strike. The Ukrainian Air Force confirmed that Russia used a combination of Iskander ballistic missiles and hypersonic Zircon missiles as part of this latest large-scale attack. Russia targeted Radionics, a Kiev-based electronics enterprise that manufactures control systems for cruise and operational tactical missiles as well as guided missiles. Also struck was Spetsabernmash, a rocket and space industry enterprise that produces critical control system components for several Ukrainian missile programs. The Meridian plant, named after Korolev, was hit as well, since it produces structural elements and guidance components specifically for Ukraine's Neptune MD guided missiles. Oaklane, a factory manufacturing components for long-range drones and carbon fiber parts for FPV drones, was also named among the facilities targeted in the strikes. Russia also claimed to strike a Nova Pashta logistics hub in Kiev, alleging it was being used to store dual-use cargo tied to drone and electronic warfare production. The Tarasovka Logistics Center in the Kyiv region was reportedly targeted too, described by Russia as a facility used to store and assemble components for long-range drones. Vladimir Putin personally reviewed Crimea's defenses on July 20. even as Ukraine was simultaneously expanding what has become its biggest and most ambitious drone campaign of the entire war. On that same day, Putin received a detailed personal briefing on regional security and energy protection efforts directly from the governor of Zaporizhia. Governor Yevgeny Balitsky assured Putin during this briefing that all energy facilities across the Zaporizhia region remain fully under control despite ongoing Ukrainian attacks. Balitsky described the situation in Enerhodar as difficult but controlled, noting that the region's power block is actively working to protect the city despite ongoing challenges. The governor went on to declare that the strategically vital R-280 Novorossiya highway is now under complete and full Russian military control. This critical highway physically links the Russian city of Rostov-on-Don all the way to Crimea, passing directly through territories Russia has only recently come to hold.
First and foremost, I would like to report on the socio-economic situation in the Zaporizhia region, particularly regarding the economy. And of course, the most pressing issue is the city of nuclear workers, Energodar. A difficult situation has arisen, but it is entirely under control. The enemy is currently making no headway on the front line. Perhaps I'll use a term not befitting parliamentary language. The enemy is tormenting the civilian population, destroying infrastructure, striking pharmacies and targeting settlements vital to daily life and essential services. The armed forces are taking every measure to resolve this situation today. Of course, there are no universal means, unfortunately, to counter unmanned aerial vehicles at present. None exist anywhere in the world, but the Russian Guard, the armed forces, the administration, the entire security apparatus. Everyone understands the challenges currently facing Energodar, the city of nuclear power engineers. Unfortunately, the chief engineer of the nuclear power station, Alexander Alexandrovich, was recently killed. As I reported to you, we are focused on this and will be asking for support in this matter so that the population can fully feel our support, your support, first and foremost, and the protection already provided by the armed forces of the Russian Federation. All energy facilities have been brought under control. The R-280 road, which supplies Crimea, is now under full control. And I can say, to the credit of the military first and foremost, that the effectiveness of Ukrainian drones has fallen significantly. It must also be said that the equipment being used is constantly being improved. We have new methods in use, and the armed forces are deploying new equipment. On your instructions, the road has been placed under special surveillance. And as of today, all the tasks before us, as well as the objectives of the special military operation, will be accomplished.